We need not wait a few hours to find out the binding, definitive, 100% objective truth as to what is the best video game of 2024, handed out at Jeff Keighley's very legitimate, not bought and paid for Game Awards. I'm sure that that's going to be a confluence of absolute supremely distilled cringe that we'll look at in the next couple of days or so, because I'd imagine there's probably going to be some decent announcements and maybe some deserving winners. But at the end of the day, if you liked a game that came out this year, well, guess what? I guess you did some good hunting, because it definitely wasn't coming out of the AAA space, sans a few notable exceptions. But we don't need to wait. We don't need to wait for the authoritative sources. No. Several publications have put out their lists, including Time Magazine's 10 best video games of 2024. And you take a look at the thumbnails that they have right there, and well, I actually recognize at least 3 of them. I have no idea what that Rorschach test in the bottom left-hand corner is, but you got Rebirth right in the bottom right-hand corner, and it's like well-deserving. You know, I sing its praises every single time I get the opportunity to. And then up in the top left-hand corner, you've got Silent Hill 2 Remake, which I've seen a little bit of gameplay of, and generally speaking, people actually did play that one, and people generally had a favorable takeaway from that. Not exactly best of the year type stuff, but at least, you know, an unbiased 7, like a better than average, not a bog standard, oh, 7, that means it's fine. Like that Indiana Jones game, which every time that you hear somebody talk favorably about it, they haven't actually played it. They just heard that somebody else played it and thought that, hey, it looks all right, or maybe I caught a clip or something like that. And I'll be going into that on Sunday because there's something fishy about that game. But anyways, yeah, there's one notable exception that I'm leaving out right there. It's something that deserves absolutely no quarter when it comes to being referenced as the best of anything. Best of the bottom of the barrel, best of the welfare games that you can get, best of whatever slop they're gonna stick on the ass end of a Humble Bundle. Do they still do that? It's been a minute since I checked that out, but I'm not gonna read this entire write-up, okay, because it's, you know, more stuffed than Ellen Page's old bras, and, you know, can't really make reference to a dead person anymore. But we'll at least take a look at the top 10, which, yeah, it starts off with Helldivers 2, whereas, you know, at the beginning of the year, for the first half of the year, it was, you know, a well-respected title. It had the gaming world by the balls, and then several atrocious community manager related moves later, and awful updates, a desert of content, and they had it all and they blew it. The quintessential example of that. And then move ahead, okay, to Lego Horizon. That actually came out. I legitimately didn't even know that came out yet, but I know those Lego games review fairly well, but Game of the Year type shit, yeah, I don't really think so. Okay, and they got you can't be serious. The most broken game to come out this year in a calendar festoon with broken, buggy disasters. You got that at 8. I don't even know anything about Lego Horizon, okay, even though it's based on one of the most overrated Sony IPs in history. It's got to be better than Outlaws. Listen, Helldivers 2 at its most unbalanced and most divisive is better than Outlaws. This is absolutely insane. Black Myth Wukong at 7, which is looking very likely to top several other people and potentially the Game Awards top game of the year at 7. Okay, all right then. It looks like Time does gaming about as well as they do the news. Alan Wake 2. Oh, they got DLC on this one. Oh, that's interesting that you want to go ahead and do that. And then you got Neva. What the blue hell is I've legitimately never heard of this. Published by Devolver Digital. They used to be a big player back in the indie market, and then, well, they ended up running afoul of Gamergate. But now we are like, ooh boy, so removed from that. I've no idea. I've never heard of it at all. Silent Hill 2 Remake. Okay, 4. That's a little high, but at least that's a name that deserves to be there. And now 3 for Rebirth. Well, I think you should be shot for that pick. But hey, all right, I understand. Like if you want to put like I don't know, Black Myth Wukong. Oh no, right, that's comfortably 4 places behind it. I don't know what 2 and 1 could be. Spoiler, I know what 1 is. Oh, Astrobot. I hear good things about that. I've seen fun gameplay of that, and yeah, it definitely reminds me of a good old-fashioned 3D platformer because, well, that's what it is, but it definitely takes inspiration of those old PS1, PS2, N64 platformers. So yeah, you know, hey, In a relatively disappointing year for major releases, I think Astrobot definitely carved out a fine space, but what exactly could be number one? Well, you already clicked on the video, you've seen the thumbnail, you know what we're going to be talking about specifically, and Time had the goddamn audacity to put Dragon Age the Veilguard as their number one game. Bro, we aren't back when this game launched on Halloween. We didn't know what kind of frights and fears we were ultimately going to be in for, but that was about the height of this game's popularity, and since then just about every outlet has walked back their glowing praise for this, okay? And now most recently PC Gamer, as Dragon Age the Veilguard's devs said they'll totally make choices from the past games matter next time, though I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to take these charlatans at their word now, because they promised the moon and ended up delivering rotten cheese, and it's likely to be their last outing. Can confirm for Dragon Age, but maybe as a studio in general, because oh boy, behind the scenes things aren't shaping up all that well. But one of the big bummer moments for Dragon Age the Veilguard, especially for many longtime fans of the franchise, was the fact that key decisions from past games like Origins 2 and Inquisition didn't really matter all that much. Yeah, it was a part of the character creator where you could just pick like 3 or 4 different decisions that you made, and just as many playthroughs as I've seen, at least at the early stages, because a few people dropped off, and ultimately I could not stay awake to watch anybody play that game. It was so bad. It is still so bad. Anyways, as a matter of fact, you only get to make 3 real decisions, right, when you boot up your game for the first time. The Inquisition was disbanded, who the Inquisitor romanced, and whether you vowed to stop Solus or save him from himself. Right. But yeah, don't worry guys, they're totally going to make it worthwhile next time, even though, like, I remember specifically IGN's review where they were saying, oh, this is really a return to form for Dragon Age, and even if we don't get another one, at least they get to go out on top. It's like, oh, okay, looks like they're the ones reading the room, realizing that shit ain't going to sell at all whatsoever. And as Grums has it documented at one specific point in recent history, Dragon Age the Veilguard falls off the top 100 list of Steam. Oh yes, beat by Witcher 3, Elder Scrolls Online, and even Fallout 76 and Fallout 4. Black Friday has come and gone, but Dragon Age the Veilguard's price is still slashed 29% at the EA store on Amazon. Spectacular failure from BioWare that can't even keep up with a 9-year-old RPG, and I think that's the most, well, 76 is more recent than that, but Jesus Christ, like Fallout 4, everybody, either at the time or in retrospect, this wasn't when, you know, game journalists were 1000% insufferable. They were at least saying, yeah, you know, Fallout 4, a bit of a step down from 3. And all the people that were deriding 3 were like, yes, now you're finally starting to see the light. But that's kind of indicative, because you can take a look at the screenshot from SteamDB and go, yeah, nobody's playing this stuff. Okay, maintaining a actually, you know, 5-digit player count, which I really didn't think, you know, this many weeks after the fact. It's got a few diehards, but that's it. Falling out of the top 100, that's fairly impressive. Not but 2 months after? I guess 8 weeks, right? But now there are some developers and some journalists that can do a little bit of a retrospection, okay? Look back on the release that was and then just go, well, you know what? It wasn't perfect. We could have tweaked a couple of things. Dragon Age the Veilguard's developers reflect on game's release, say they're quite proud of the critical reception, but admit sales are struggling. Yeah, because the last time that we've got an official update, outside of just simply reading between the lines, we shipped 1 million copies. What exactly does that mean? We shipped them out there. How many of those were bought? We sure shipped 1 million copies. Thanks for keeping us in the loop, BioWare. In attempting to spin their game's less than stellar reception, Dragon Age the Veilguard's game director Corinne Bush, right, that dude, and series creative director John Elper says that despite the mixed feelings players had towards the fantasy RPG's latest entry, the overwhelming amount of positive praise it received from, you know, the stupid journos is something they and their team are quite proud of. Well, hey, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, or you just shove them in your surgically induced axe wound. Bush and Epler offered their thoughts on the divisive title's wider reputation during a post-release interview given to Eurogamer's associate editor Robert Perchesi, asked by their host as to how it felt at launch when people's opinions and reviews were rolling in. Bush began, the biggest thing I was feeling was a sense of curiosity. We got so close to the work we're focused on it day to day, and of course we're playing and being mindful of the overall experience, she explained. We know what we've got, but there's something. Even when you go through preview events or you have smaller hands-on demos, there's nothing quite like players getting it in their hands or reviewers playing through the game for the first time. You're always curious, right? Of course, we've poured a lot of ourselves into the game, some more than others, but I find of myself a sense of trying to let go to the personal investment and just step back and absorb what everyone else then has to say about the game's experience. So for me, it's curiosity. Like everybody passing you on the street just goes, what the fuck is that? That type of curiosity. Just a childhood wonder, right? Just don't stand too close to the kids. Building on top of the colleagues' thoughts, Epler asserted, I'd say for me, probably relief was definitely at the top of my list. I've been on the project for a very long time, and there was definitely times in development where, especially early on, felt like this day would never come. So the fact that it came out felt amazing. Oh my god, well at least your feelings are validated. As I also thought, it was interesting reading the reviews to see just the variety of what people were engaging with. Yeah, that's interesting because they all seem to have that same marching line. It's a return to form, but yeah, it definitely a varied reception that you got from the journos, because again, as Corrine said, we're so close to the game, so close to the project that it's hard to take a step back and look at it through that lens. So seeing other people look at it through that lens was really great. Lens, feeling. What a pile of garbage. Turning to address Corinne's other point, what did he just break character and went, this used to be a dude? Anyways, Epler further admitted curiosity was definitely there too, but for me, relief that it's out, relief that the reviews were coming in fairly well, and excitement for fans to get their hands on it and start to see how they were going to react to it. Well, okay, all things considered, like, this is kind of a fluffy interview, but in the age of antagonistic developers, this is kind of the way that you approach these softball interviews, if we're being completely honest. Just be happy for the product that you have, even though, it's being received about as well as an Israeli welcome package in Gaza. They're playing the game, and I can appreciate that. Next, the pair were pressed about the divisive reactions to the game, something they planned to expect, blah, 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 just address the sales, okay, for Christ's sakes. The question was, how was the commercial response to the game, and how has that been? I've seen stories about sales, and they seem mixed, inconclusive. Well, that's about the nicest way and the most probing of a question you can get from a Euro gamer shill. The game seems to be doing okay, but struggling to keep pace with Inquisition before it. Has it been a success from your viewpoint? How do you measure that? Taking the lead for the question and proceeding to address each individual point in reverse bush detail. There are 3 axes we can measure this by. Axes? Wait, what? Okay. What the team was able to do and put together, the pride that you can take in that, every game that is made, especially, blah, 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 in a triple space. Internally, we consider that a success. Oh, wow, they're just coping big on that one. Oh, we consider that a success. We're happy for the critical reception. It's not common to have these challenging development cycles, but yeah, we're really proud about the work that we did, except for, nobody else is. And now you're just getting laughed out of the building by much more successful games already in its pre-orders. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is already beating the brakes off of Veilguard, and the old one is outstripping a game that came out in 2018, 2017. Like, it's been out. Kingdom Come Deliverance has been out for a minute, and it's already outpacing the concurrent player count of Veilguard. Dragon Age Veilguard shills are not happy with Warhorse Studios co-founder Daniel Varva humiliating the game by comparing it to Kingdom Come Deliverance. Varva wrote on X, wow, 7 years old game versus recent releases. Shared an image showing Kingdom Come Deliverance having an all-time peak concurrent of 96,069, nice compared to Veilguard's 89,418. Oh no! It also showed that Deliverance had a higher 24-hour peak and more concurrent players when he took the screenshot. I mean, tomato, how could you possibly, and why would you single out one specific game that's, considerably newer and is also, just been beat completely and totally across the board? That's Is absolutely hilarious to see. Numerous Veilguard shills were not happy about this comparison, but yeah, they're too busy coping and seething, listening to somebody who is seething and dilating from the development team trying to polish this turd. But in actuality, after the Game Awards cringe comes and goes, and there's a new story coming out of that, nobody's going to be talking about the Veilguard. It's going to be long gone and forgotten. Then next time it gets brought up is when BioWare gets shut down. So when all that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.